Um, so, yes, we are live here on West Coast Radio for the Straight Talk Show. I am your host, Yusef Taylor, aka Flex Dan. And yes, it's been a while. It's been a while. We have not had a conversation. We have not had a discussion. And obviously, we are back again. First of all, want to convey my apologies to all our amazing listeners. All our amazing listeners, I clearly want to make an apology for not being around during the Ramadan. The environment is usually less, one could say maybe accommodating in that regard. So, but nonetheless, we are back again, and I actually traveled to Ivory Coast, which is one of the reasons why I was not around. I left a little bit just as soon as the Ramadan started, or just around then, and for a very interesting journalism, you could say, training about debt in Africa. And this was the program. So that's one of the reasons why I couldn't make it. And last week, unfortunately, I had to bury my grand aunt. So that's clearly the reason why last week I couldn't make it. I had a special program and an interview which I actually wanted to air, but I didn't have enough time for it. Nonetheless, we are back again on the Straight Talk Show. We're even trying to make an effort to stream our program live on YouTube. So right now, if you are on YouTube following us, share some comments. Let's be able to see you. Share your comments so that we will be able to interact with you. We're streaming live on the Gainako platform right now as we speak. So that's something new that we are trying to do. Okay, we have a lot planned in for today's program that we are going to talk about. We have a lot planned for today's program. And where else will we start? Apart from the $40 million that Gambian media have been given, that Gambian media have been allocated according to the government, some contracts to do what? To promote the government's agenda. We are going to definitely talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about that. We want to talk about the CSO advocates that were arrested. That is the SESNAME coalition, the SESNAME group of civil society advocates that were arrested just this Sunday. And they have been released on bail. Of course, they've been released on bail. We know that. So that's something which is also a developing situation. They were supposed to go and report to the police today. I made efforts to try to get in touch with them, but that couldn't happen. The SPO and the SAM Bills, these two bills have been passed in Parliament just day before yesterday. Everybody thought it would be a 2-day extraordinary session, but it ended up being a 1-day extraordinary session instead. And then we will talk about some of the activities that are happening tomorrow as well. So let's get straight into it. The way we want to do this program today is able to call. So I'm going to try to open up the lines much earlier. The number to dial will be 504-7877, 504-7877. If you have a thought of calling, please just dial the number 504-7877, and then you will be on the program. We will give you some time, because it's been such a long time that I haven't managed to interact with our callers and our listeners. So I've decided today to open up the lines much earlier. 504-7877. You've heard the topics that we're going to be discussing. Perhaps when we get into it, we'll be taking some more calls. But we're going to go straight right into it, of course, without further ado. Once again, this program is brought to you by Straight Talk. Myself, I'm the host, Yusef Taylor. And Straight Talk has been a program that's been here for a long time. For a while now, since the Gore Jai and others. And of course, John Charles Njai has also taken ownership of it. I've also been here myself with my colleague MS. He's out of town at the moment. There we have it. Well, we're gonna move without further ado to talk about the hottest topic for the last 2 weeks now. The hottest topic for the last 2 weeks now has been the issue of the 40 million Gambian dollars that has been allocated to the Gambian media. 40 million Gambian dollars has been allocated to 7 Gambian media houses and by the Gambia government. And the whole idea for that is to do what? To promote the government's agenda. So that has actually been a big topic, a hot talking point this week. Last week, everybody has been talking about it, and everybody wants to know what is going on. I'm sure all of you who have been listening to West Coast Radio will be very well versed and very well briefed about this 40 million Gambian dollars, because the Minister of Information himself has come on. He's highlighted that a lot of things that they've gone through through GPPA, and they've gone through a transparent process, according to the minister. This is what he said. But what do we know? We will share the information about what we know from so far and from what the minister has been saying. The 7 media houses that we are talking about are the Fatu Network, Star TV, QTV, Paradise TV, and iAfrica, and as well as Sparkling Media and Fandema Media. They are the content providers. Then you have the Fatu Network, Star TV, QTV, and Paradise TV will be the media houses that will be publishing, obviously, content to promote the Gambia government's agenda. And when four other questions were asked, it's about the Yiriwa, the development plan, the government's development plan. So this is the what we know so far. And according to the minister, he did come here and he spoke to them. So what's our take? What is our take? Because we are journalists ourselves. And of course, this is such an important issue that we will have an opinion about it. Well, our take is very simple. We support, myself, Gainako, my media house that I'm working with, and my colleague. We support media houses being subvented by the government. But for this to happen, it has to happen in a very similar to what had happened during the COVID-19 funds, which was a very transparent process in the manner in which the funds was being disbursed. Government came together with the Gambia Press Union and they had the Grant Management Committee. The Grant Management Committee considered and put out a call for media houses who are interested to come in. Although I understand that this is not subvention, these are contracts for media houses to popularize the government's agenda and to promote the government's agenda. But this would have been a better way to go about this, working together with the Gambia Press Union, rather than coming across as selecting some media houses, 7 media houses, to go about this job. Although there was a tendering process, but it was not an open tender, as was established by Peter in this program that he usually has, Coffee Time. So, regardless, government can and government should support the Gambian media. But how should this support be done? In a transparent, efficient manner. When the call for the COVID-19 funds came, Gainako, my media house, was one of those who rejected it. We didn't want anything to do with it. And similarly, we don't want anything to do with this other proposal that the government has put out. And Peter has also, I think, stated similarly his concern or views on this regard. So, how do we move as a media? I think the Gambia Press Union should really step in. This is a very serious matter. which should be investigated in line with our code of conduct, and that the Gambia Press Union should be bold also to not shy away. I know that there was a bad experience for the Grant Management Committee where Parliament was summoning them, and they have been summoned that they must, recover the funds that the media houses actually were found wanting for. But that is not something that that the Gambia Press Union can shy away from. The Gambia Press Union must continue to try its best to make sure that it is involved in this, because of what happens is, if these things go wrong, the whole of the media is now in a bad light. It has a very important bearing to the public trust of the media, and this cannot be left to media houses alone to be done, going about it in whichever way that they feel like it should be done, or the government just going and hand-picking some of its own media houses, pretty much, I could say, dividing the media. Yes, there are complaints that some of those who are complaining, some of us who are complaining, perhaps is because we have not had anything from it. But I can assure you, we did reject the COVID-19 funds, and we would reject these funds as gain if it was offered to us, because we don't feel that through the union. It should be transparent. The public's money should be well used in the right manner. So we go into another story which has been breaking. Actually, we broke it. Gainako broke this story on the news on Sunday. We broke the story of Gambian civil society advocates being arrested for civil disobedience in Banjul and Barra. As I said, this is something that we broke on social media on Sunday during the day. We broke that story. Very, very important story. So what is the story? We will go right into it. Police released 12 Sesnen advocates on bail. This is the headline of the story which we have. Gambian police force have released 12 Sesnen advocates on bail. Now these two separate arrests were made on Sunday, 21st April 2024 at Banjul and Barra. Just the day before, that was on Saturday, 20th April 2024, the coalition of Sesnen advocates, who consist of Gambia Participates and National Youth Parliament, and as well as New Me Hands is based in Barra, held a press conference lamenting the police decision to reject their protest permit request due to the upcoming OIC summit. Sesnen, it translates to "we've had enough" in Wolof, and it's being used to galvanize citizens after the ferry disaster which occurred last week when the Kanyilai ferry broke down offshore and failed to dock for days, forcing passengers to be rescued after being stranded for hours. So, the Sesnen advocates called off their protest on Saturday, this weekend. But however, what we know for sure is that they were out civil disobedience, which is legally, in my view, within their rights. They did not have loudspeakers or hailers, neither did they go on a procession. And this is what the Public Order Act is mandated to control. But this was not to the liking of the police. The Gambia police force swooped on them quickly and arrested some 12 of them. Yes, this is the information which we have. So, as we continue with the program, similarly, what we know is that 4 people were arrested in Barra. Those 4 individuals, they've been released on bail. They were to report today. We were trying to get information about that. In Banjul, some 11 persons were arrested. Amongst those was Honorable Cham, who Honorable Omar Champion Cham, his full name, as most people know him commonly, Champion is his nickname, who is the Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, as well as Gambia participates. He came on here, Mar Nyang, he came on Coffee Time to talk to Peter. So those two were part of them, as well as some other well-known advocates are part of them. But these are some of the names that most of you will probably be very familiar with. You can read the full story by logging on to Gainako, and you can read all about that on there. So that was a very important development this weekend, which happened, and it's been making the headlines. Of course, many of you have seen what is happening with that regard. So what's our position? What's my perspective? What's my take on this issue? The arrest of civil society advocates. I think the police have said that they will not be granting permits because of the summit. But this should not be a deterrent for citizens to be able to exercise their constitutionally given right. The OIC coming should strengthen citizens' enjoyment of their fundamental rights, not deprive them of their fundamental rights. Now, as we wait and enjoy for the OIC, those who are enjoying the OIC, meanwhile, some people are suffering and people are losing their lives, as stated by some of the civil society advocates. And some of those who are suffering from lack of jobs that are affected by not the ferry not operating. So these are all things which the government should actually be very, very concerned about more and making more efforts. I understand that they're signing contracts for ferries, new ferries in 6 months' time or something like that. And those are all very much welcome. But in the meantime, in the interim, what does the government do to alleviate some of these challenges? Rather than dealing with that, and instead the government is doing what? Following civil society advocates back and forth with them. Arrest, release, on bail, charges. God knows whether they will press charges or they will drop the charges. So I think the government would be very wise, because of these are young people who are working, very responsible young people who have done everything possible to try to engage with the government to make sure that their concerns are heard. But still, not much is being done to address the concerns of the public. And these people are just speaking out what most Gambians are thinking. That's all. That's all. You know, that's their concern. What most Gambians are saying. That's what they are saying, you see. So we will find out by next week. We will certainly come here. What is the current situation regarding their case, whether they have been released or if they are still, having to be reporting to police, etc., etc. Okay. The number to dial is 504-7877, 504-7877. Make sure you call so that you can join on the program. I'm your host. You're tuned into Straight Talk Show live on West Coast Radio 95.3 FM, the program where we talk straight. It should be, without any, filtration. 7504-7877. We are live on West Coast Radio, Straight Talk, and I am your host, Yusef Taylor. So this program is not a sponsored program, so we're calling out there. If you feel that you could support this program, or you have something you'd like to come on or sponsor this program, get in touch with us. And the same numbers as I said, 504-7877, this program. Okay, we have a lot to talk about. We are not relenting. We've also seen that the Gambia government, first of all, before I say the Gambia government, the National Assembly has passed the SPO, Special Prosecutor's Office Bill, and the Special Accountability Mechanism Bill. Two bills that have been passed by the National Assembly after an extraordinary session was started just on Monday. It was expected for this extraordinary session to take 2 days, but everything seemed to have compressed and the bills were passed on Monday. What are these bills? Special Prosecutor's Office Bill and Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill. The Ministry of Justice has issued a press release on the passage of the Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill and the Special Prosecutor's Office Bill. So those are the things that we've actually been monitoring. We've been monitoring these things to see where is this bill and where is it moving, because these are very important bills, and this is what the Ministry of the Ministry of Justice statement has to say. The Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill outlines the institutional framework envisaged by the government of the Gambia for the implementation of the justice and accountability component of the TRRC recommendations accepted in the white paper. This a special tribunal modeled on internationalized courts and the Special Criminal Division of the High Court. So it continues. The Special Accountability Mechanism Bill aims to address the crimes specified in the government white paper. It does so by laying down the core principles for investigating and prosecuting cases involving serious human rights violations that occurred in the Gambia between July 1994 to January 2017. That is the Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill. On the other hand, the Special Prosecutor's Office Bill shall establish the Special Prosecutor's Office as an independent entity with the authority to investigate and prosecute cases of serious human rights violations, as well as domestic and international crimes specified in the government white paper. The passage of these two bills mark a historical milestone for the Gambia's transitional justice program. The Ministry of Justice would like to express its gratitude to the Gambia Bar Association, the Alliance of Victim-Led Organizations, and other civil society organizations for their valuable contributions during the development of these bills through consultations. These consultations played a crucial role in assuming a broad spectrum of perspectives and expertise were considered in the drafting process. Furthermore, the ministry acknowledges the technical and financial support provided by the United States Agency for International Development, that is USAID, through Democracy International, under its Rapid Response Program for the Gambia. It continues to conclude, the ministry is currently working on establishing a legal framework for the creation of a special tribunal for the Gambia that will have the authority jurisdiction to try international crimes through the Gambia ECOWAS Joint Technical Committee. And there's a comment on the MOJ's tweet there saying, slowly but surely. Those are some of the main topics which we really wanted to talk to you about. It's almost 30:30. The lines are going to be open for 7877. We want you to call. The number to dial is 504-7877, 504-7877. And you will be tuning in live to Straight Talk, where you will have the opportunity to certainly give us your perspective, your views on the topics that we've just talked about. And those topics include, we'll go again, those topics include $40 million the Gambia government is paying or has paid $40 million to 7 media houses to promote the government agenda, Yiriwa National Development Plan. Do you think it is bribery, or is it just straight business? The media is into business just like every other business. Gambian civil society organizations arrests actors arrested for sit-down strike. 12 civil society advocates were arrested on Sunday for sit-down strike. That is, they were standing and sitting down, some of them, were sitting down, some of them were standing. We saw the guys in Barra, they had some placards held up. Civil disobedience. They were arrested on Sunday and also released on bail. They were supposed to report today. We will try and get you the latest information on that as it develops. Tune in to Gainako for more information as that comes. SPO and SAM Bills passed in Parliament. The SPO, Special Prosecutor's Office Bill, and the Special Accountability Mechanism Bill have been passed in Parliament just day before yesterday on Monday, when the first day of the extraordinary session, 2024 extraordinary session, took place. And during that session, these two bills were passed. It was expected that they would be 2 days, but the extraordinary session ended up lasting just for 1 day, 24 hours, less than that, but it was a marathon session indeed. It was a very long marathon session, but both bills were passed on the same day. Of course, there was some opposition to the bill, like any bill, most of the time. You will find some opposition. So those are the main topics that we've been through. And the number to dial is 504-7877, 504-7877, 504-7877. Call us so that we can get your perspective, whether what you think about the 40 million Gambian dollars that has been allocated to 7 media houses. Is it fair? Is it transparent? Is it... let's see, it looks like we might be getting our first caller here. Let's get our first caller in the program. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Okay. Seems like let's. Hello, caller. Can you get us?
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Okay, thank you so much for calling. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, the show is very nice and fantastic.
Thank you so much. Where are you calling? What's your name, please?
Yeah, I'm calling Bakau. My name is Lamin Silla.
Lamin Silla, you can talk to us in English, in Wolof. My Mandinka is not very good, so that's why, but...
Thank you. I love that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, can you speak in Wolof, because I cannot, my Mandinka is not good at all, so that I can speak with you. Or English,
yes.
anyone.
Yeah, I can speak Mandinka, I can speak Wolof.
Yes, Wolof, let's go with Wolof.
Okay, jërëjëf moom laa nuyu.
Jërëjëf waay ma fay naa la.
Ok, sa programme bi rafet na trop.
Jërëjëf waay.
Ok, affaire affaire 40 million bu nga wax.
Waaw, 40 million bu media bi am.
Ok, right now Gambia dafa daw yaram. Because 40 million. Balaa ñu koy jël di ko jow media. Barra and Banjul sérieux amul foofu.
Billahi.
So ñu jël xaalis boobu at least ñu jëndal seen sax wala su ko mënul jënd sax ñu dugal advance bi mu des balance sax. ñaata nit yi ñoo nekk di soxla right now diggante Banjul ak Barra.
Billahi.
léegi feebar su war a cross mu ñëw Banjul. mu ngi mel ni dafa dee.
da ngaa dugg si gaal yi.
ñaareel bi ñu dee ñëw sax pour liggéey si nguur bi dañuy lekk. So student yi dañuy lekk. After you like, comme lu waawaa ñu nekkal si nguur bi. Gambia is losing many money in this country. I understand that.
Of course. Billahi.
Loolu leen nekk di ñaata right now. Okay, man suma advice bi dafa def si nguur bi. So lan moo laaj si nguur bi. Président amul advice ñoom ko ndax li moo nekk dëgg. We are not in the politics. We are here to, combine and to human litigation. So, President, the money can you president.
Tega.
Nico close. Nico Gigi. Not by health. This one is Adam Barrow, the power of president, who will be here. After last year, move around Gambia right now, what is happening? Understand that? So 40 million is left at Amukara. So market bi everything mu ngi yaaw yoon yi ñu ngi yaaw understand so lu bari mu fa is gradually daal man lu ma wax dëgga wax xaalis bi dañ ko fay it's totally wrong nit ñi ñu ngi jooy garab amut lopitaan gis nga président bi man tey su ma koy wax mu jël mbookaat yi ñoo xam ne sax dañ koy advice wala mu déggul bi ñu koo fii ñëpp seen interest lañu nekk understand so lii mu soodal Adam Barrow lii moo tax Adam Barrow dafa ñëw pour développer Gambia bu ñu nekk ci gannaawam dafa war a seetlu nii bu baax mu ngi ñëw de
billahi ngay ñëw
man lu ma koy wax dëgg man bañ wax Adam Barrow but right now Gambia yëpp ñu ngi jooy Adam Barrow because gis nga ñu ko jigee doo soonal lii moo nekk dëgg Adam Barrow bu gëstu tuuti mu xool ndeyjoor bi mu xool càmmoñ bi
jërëjëf
dafa xam ku rom ak ku correct
jërëjëf
waaw moo sonal Adam Barrow nag
thank you jërëjëf
mu jël bale bi mu bale cabinet bi moo xam ne loo xam dafa tël
mu teg ko moom
lu waa ji du dox
jërëjëf
waaw bu nangu ni mu ko téye
thank you
lu waa ji Adam Barrow moomut ko ñu nekk ci cabinet bi moomut ko
ok
yàlla moo ko jël mu def ko président njiitu Gambia
jërëjëf thank you so much
mu xool gars yi cabinet mu clean ko amul advice na bàyyi xelam te mu ngi ñëw de
jërëjëf waay thank you kontaan naa torop si sa call bi kontaan nañ torop si call boobu noonu bugga neen moo call us 504 7877 504 7877 mooy number bi you can call, you can speak in English or Wolof, and then we will be able to take you. And there's two important things that will be happening tomorrow. I just thought it will be very important to highlight these things for our listeners who are on the air listening to us here right now. Tomorrow there will be the launch of the 2024 Citizens Budget, the launch of the 2024 Citizens Budget, as well as the AVLO, Association of Victim-Led Organizations. We've got another caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for calling. Can you tell us your name? And where,
the program is very nice.
thank you. Can you tell us your name kindly and where you're calling from? Wow, wow.
Omar Lapidapa, I'm call on the road, I'm them towards block.
Okay. Jërëjëf waay. Thank you so much, Omar.
Yeah.
Sa xalaat, sa gis-gis bi.
Hello?
Wow.
Okay. The topic is the 40 million given to the media houses.
Yes,
yeah?
40 million, yes.
Okay. Have your say. It's a program of have your say.
Indeed.
What's
What's xalaat, jërëjëf. Straight talk.
Okay, exactly. Program B is very, very important, and I ordered it right now because
suñ caller bi mu ngi waxoon ne mu ngi si road bi de mu ngi drive di dem na network bi na mu ngi place foo xam ne network bi. Hello caller. It's like ñàkk nañ ko miss nañ ko wante su ñoo dégga si radio bi please call back 504-7877 504-7877 caller bi. Unfortunately, we just lost your call there, but the number to dial is 504-7877. Dial that number and then we'll get you right back in. So when you get into an area where the network is better. So we've had one caller talking about the government and how they should have spent that money. We're getting another caller. Hello, caller, and welcome to the Straight Talk call. Yes.
Them on those police who arrested the civil service, civil servants. That's $40 million will not fix costing problem.
Okay.
Will not have very problem. All governments say they are doing the job for themselves. If they are working for this community, living in the development, something will speak for themselves. One more second. Over hours in media, when let them forget about old media, let them follow Barra empowerment because you're getting it again. If you believe what you are doing, guys, you're not playing it. ngi all the journalists them the country media ba man ba amoon di campagne mboolem ku ñu follow this media bi all citizen Gambian bi ñoo bàyyi media mo bañ njëriñ journalist da nga ci la nga déggu mo ta nga bu dogo bi de dogo journalist ci ko def mo ñu sonal dogo rek da ba bi kan ci wax wala ta wa man ci ay la dara yére bi ya ngi def li ñu ba am ta mooy loolu rek ya ngi table little money we this we are fighting for our right
billahi
your tax salary is very little, but all of these is what they are telling you. I thought in my all of these house what they is very simple stuff. I'm gonna.
Billahi.
So now they've been on the street, all these people try to run the problem. You are the man leading. Don't follow that. I'm gonna for the using that system. Even if it without that, I'm gonna for what in the heart. But Barra cotton is a big step for this country.
Yeah, really.
What time you are comparing this? But man, you say by Barra, you can think about it. You know, I'm saying with more than 4 hours. But Barra. Up to the one they got, the one they made them both by Barra. But that's Barra. How do you know?
Breakdown all the time. Press release and press release. Okay, let's not. All right, thank you so much for calling. That caller, I think what he said at the end perhaps is not meant for us to put on air. Nobody is calling to remove the government because the people have voted, and the people's vote must be respected. But obviously, the people's concerns also must be heard. The people should be able to hold the government to account. That's the Gambia which we want. And we fully understand the concerns. And let's take this caller. I think we must have been the caller we missed. Hello, caller.
Yes, sir.
Yes, can you reduce your volume, please?
Yes, sorry, yes. I came back again.
Thank you so much for calling. Yes, you're talking about the 40 million.
Okay,
I don't know if it's your network, but we're not getting you very well. We're not getting you very well. Yes, it's better now.
The concern on this 40 million is
yes,
the media houses also ought to be promoted.
Definitely.
They ought to develop themselves.
Yeah.
They ought to expand. Because those are the people that understand really what is going on in the whole world.
Yeah.
My dear brother, definitely they need to develop, they need to expand. Media houses soon developing. You have a lot of TVs, you have a lot of radios, you have a lot of newspapers around. Anything from anywhere that happens, people will be aware and they will act smartly and fast.
Indeed.
So that expansion also will bring employment because media house will employ to be a security officer, so that employ to be a supplier of newspapers. My friend, if I employment, so buy a couple of login, and if you're expanding, developing. Yes, we have other issues and we have other problems here. There are problem solving matters. Definitely. Why come that budget is meant for the media houses. So bring them come on a hand. You use go wisely.
Okay. So
that's my take anyway.
But just a quick question. Are you sure the budget that was budgeted in the budget, in the 2024 budget? Because of from it was not budgeted. It was not budgeted according to the investigations which we have done, the preliminary investigation. It was never debated. Yeah, it was never debated in Parliament, according to what we know.
Okay, on that part then, it's a sad modern operandi. That should not be that's not the best practice. Definitely, if it is not budgeted.
I think I am like with you, the fact that I believe media houses should be supported, but if they are going to support them too, they should also do it transparently. And then it should not be they just go and select 7 media houses. So perhaps they could have gone through the Gambia Press Union, and then just like they did during the COVID-19, this is what they did. Yes, exactly.
All the media houses will
Exactly. Rather than you just go and you pick 7.
Why didn't they send their journalists to university, graduate?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, a lot of development will happen in the media.
I am fully in agreement with you.
It's very easy to develop the media houses, my friend. Wherever you are in the whole world, Gambia would be among the best media houses because they are very good in information dissemination.
Thank you so much for calling.
That's my take, bro.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much. That caller, me and him, I think came to an understanding towards the end. Of course, the media should be empowered. I am in the media. We need funds. This program, I'm sure you've heard me complaining that this program is not funded. You know, we want you to come and sponsor this program. Call us on 504-7877 after this, and then you can sponsor the program. We will be transparent about who is sponsoring it, of course. But at the same time, let it go in a very right direction. Let it go through the right channels. Let the Gambia Press Union be involved so that it is not some selective process. You know, there were measures that were taken when journalists or the media houses were awarded COVID-19 funds. Very transparent manner was adopted, and that could similarly have been used. But we understand this is not subvention per se. This is contracts. So perhaps, you know, they will argue that, you know, it's not something that the same thing exactly. But regardless, it should have been going through the right channels. 504-7877, 504-7877 to call on Straight Talk. I'm your host, Yusef Taylor, aka Flex Dan, and this program today, we're talking about numerous issues. 40 million given to 7 Gambian media houses. A lot of the callers seem to be focusing on this. Gambian civil society advocates, 12 of them, were arrested after a sit-down strike and released on bail. That was on Sunday. The SPO, Special Prosecutor's Office bill, and the Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill have both been passed in Parliament after an extraordinary session which took place on Monday. The session was supposed to last for 2 days, but it ended up lasting for 1 day. The SPO bill is going to be the Special Prosecutor's Office bill. That is what mechanism the government will use to, that is the person who will follow the prosecutions. That is going to be the special prosecutor. And then you have the Special Accountability Mechanisms bill. We've got another caller. Hello, caller. Welcome to the show. Yes. Wow, 40 million. Munga wani sa radio bi tuti de, sorry. Wow.
40 million.
Wow, 40 million bi.
Okay, media bungo jo fair. Media bi den ko wala support but fair. Niti jo Barra. Wala ni ko jo media. And then dama wa lele. Xam nga 40 million bi len jo. Haras de wal weekend da nga dégg dara lo xam ne mo over 40 million. Wow.
Okay.
Ay sa hel de luma lay wax.
Dina ko bàyyi xel bu baax a baax.
Bàyyi sa hel su amee 1 week rek no call number bi nga wax ma. Su amee call ma.
Jërëjëf waay.
Okay, luma lay wax gis lu tax ñu ngi jow ministre yi ku nekk ñaari oto. Standby la pour beneen bi su demul beneen bi mu use ko.
Waaw.
Waaw léegi dina seetlu tamit Barra bi amul loolu.
moom it war naa gën a ëppal loolu sax.
Ok, depuis 2016 up to date. ñu ne dañuy def biri. Mënuñ ko def biri gisuñ biri. Lu tax mënuñ jënd benn série depuis 2016 up to now. Dafa daw yaram de.
Dafa daw yaram kay.
léegi ne demal si lopitaan bi yow sa bopp witness ko. da ngaa jëndaat ticket ba pare nga dem jëndaat. garab si pharmacie traitement sa doo ko am. tey gis nga nit soo waxut nit dëgg
la.
doomi aadama kenn bañut kenn. soo bëggee doomi aadama dëgg nga ko dee wax.
dëgg la.
bu jël wax boo xam ne waxi kaw yaa ngi koo wax nit di ko wax ne man dama la bugga nii ak nii tey doomi aadama mu ngi nag bambelaan. Banjul bi nit yi xalaat ko def. Alalu mbooloo. Nit mu xalaat ëllëg tomorrow. We are in the world here, but next world, judgment is on the way coming. The world is end. Let them think about tomorrow. What about the former minister, Ali Badara Diouf? He held at Ali Badara Diouf. Alamu. Dem na te mu ngi ni yalla xare ko aljana. Wallahi. Nañ xelaat tele ku nekk dafa dem ci fan bi. So 40 million bi pour duga correct
sa xalaat jërëjëf.
Lu ma la wax xaaral ma yokkal la tuuti.
Ok.
Lu ma la wax baal sa xel balaa one week bi di jeex xam nga 40 million leen spend. Da ngaa dégg dara lu mu ëppal loolu. Pour ay si bi xaalis bi sax buñ jox gaay yëpp dugub si liggéey bi ana xaalis. mooy tali yi wala. Waaw tali yi ana xaalis bi. Ana yoon yi ana tali bi.
xam nga si dara.
ñun gisuñ benn tali bi.
Billaahi.
Ñun gisuñ tali lii bul malaan bu ñuul fekk ne yaa ngi ko teg ci malaan bu weex loolu du mën a nekk doo mën a gis malaan bu weex bi.
Dëgg la.
Doo ko mën a gis soo jëlee malaan bu ñuul nga teg ko ci kaw malaan bu weex bi doo ko mën a gis.
comme affaire si transparentul daal.
Yéen fekk moo nekk foofu. So ñun dañ disappoint. Because ñu jógee président bi ñu ngi ko jéem. ñu ngi defar seen poche yi te ñu ngi jënd ay kër. dafa daw yaram.
jërëjëf
lu ma koy wax. dañ ko seetloo. 2026 is coming. Thank you very much.
Jërëjëf, thank you so much for calling. We are having just about 5 minutes to go. Very soon we will be wrapping up this program. This is Straight Talk. I'm your host, Yusef Taylor, aka FlexDan, and we are talking about a number of things. We just stopped, we're talking about the SPO and the Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill. Of course, everybody is calling and talking about the 40 million that has been awarded to 7 media houses. Gambian CSOs were also civil society actors. They were also arrested on Sunday. And the SPO and Special Accountability Mechanisms Bills have been passed in Parliament on Monday. Tomorrow will be the launch of the 2024 Citizens Budget and the AVLO, the Association of Victim-Led Organizations. Remember, the AVLO went to visit President Barra after he invited them to come. So that organization will be finalizing their official launch tomorrow, and civil society actors will obviously be there. The Association of Victim-Led Organizations, they play a very, very important role. And let's pick out some of the objectives about some of what they do. Given the paramount concern for the victims of human rights violations, their needs and interests, and in alignment with the government's objectives pertaining to truth, justice, reparation, memory, and guarantees of non-reoccurrence. An amalgamation of 8 existing victim-led organizations that have steadfastly worked to support victims in the transitional justice process decided to formalize their collaborative efforts. This led to the establishment of the Alliance of Victim-Led Organizations, a newly formed non-profit organization dedicated to championing and representing the interests of victims of human rights violations during the Jammeh era in the implementation of the TRRC recommendations. The formation of the AVLO signifies a collective commitment to advancing the satisfaction of victims in the Gambia. The AVLO, tomorrow they will be launched. Gainako will be covering it. I'm sure West Coast will send some of their reporters, one of the reporters to cover that. We will be bringing that out. Then of course, we must talk about this one as well. The Citizens Budget. 2024 Citizens Budget Dialogue will take place tomorrow. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs, through the Budget Directorate, has been producing the Citizens Budget since 2014 in order to promote participatory budgeting, budget transparency, and accountability. The citizens' budget is a tool that government uses to present its policies and programs in a manner that is understandable to the level of every citizen. The ministry will have a consultative dialogue with civil society organizations and relevant stakeholders to highlight the details of this budget, the 2024 budget, and the budget process. This will take place tomorrow. So these are two important things that are taking place tomorrow. My journalist colleagues, if they are hearing it, you've got the tip-off to make sure that you get to some of these events. The number to dial, we are going to be wrapping up very soon. We're running out of time very soon. 504-7877, 504-7877. That's the number to dial to get on Straight Talk Radio Show, live on West Coast Radio, 95.3 FM. As I said, I'm your host, Yusef Taylor. We have just a few minutes to go. 504-7877. We were talking about $40 million that has been awarded to 7 media houses. Is it bribery? Is it fair game? Is it just business with the media? Well, the plan and the agenda objective of that is to promote the government's agenda, Yiriwa Development Plan, they say. 12 Gambian civil society advocates arrested for sit-down strike, released on bail, and were set to report to the police today. Their arrest took place on Sunday. We had about 8 were arrested in Banjul and another 4 in Barra. The SPO, Special Prosecutor's Office Bill, and the Special Accountability Mechanisms Bill, these 2 bills have been passed in Parliament, and they pave the way for justice to take more of a foothold and the never again agenda to be promoted in the Gambia. What do we mean by that? The SPO is the Special Prosecutor's Office Bill, and it will mandate the hiring of the special prosecutors, of the special prosecutor. And that will be an office also, where they will be staffed. So the special prosecutor is the person who will lead prosecution of all those that have been identified in the TRRC that should be prosecuted. The Minister of Justice, he promised that that the government aims to get a special prosecutor by mid of this year. If that is the case, they have two more months to act to fulfill that promise. In fact, the Minister of Justice promised that the extraordinary session for the SPO and the SAM would take place in January, but we've now seen that has taken place in just April, just not too long ago, this week. We broke the news when it was happening as well, and we broke the news when the minister promised that day because our media was there, and we pay attention, especially on the transitional justice process. We publish and write about it. So, the minister has about 2 months to make sure that they fulfill that deadline of getting a special prosecutor. And then after that, some work will continue to take place about how they will go about this prosecution, who will be prosecuted, what evidence they have. They will be doing a lot of work, and then prosecution will start. Meanwhile, outside the Gambia, we are expecting a verdict in a few weeks' time, in May, for the Usman Sonko case. We don't know what will happen for that. We are all attentive, eyes and ears wide open, waiting for 15th of May, where Usman Sonko's prosecution is continuing in Switzerland. Also, just last year, the first prosecution outside on the TRRC issue by law, he was handed a life sentence for his role in the murder of a number of persons, including Dada Haidara and one lawyer. So, this is what is happening because the Special Prosecutor SPO Bill and the SAM Bill, they are the bills that will enable international law to be applied under this mechanism, and ECOWAS is also going to be involved in this, as we've highlighted in the statement from the Minister of Justice. So we are running out of time. As I've said, my name is Yusef Taylor. I am your host. Thank you everybody for listening and for calling, all the callers that we've had. We were talking about a number of different topics, quite a few number of topics, which we talked about there. And next week we will be here again. We will be here. Make sure that you call. Make sure that we will try to get a WhatsApp line for this program so people can follow us internationally, because we're streaming on YouTube as well. And we want people to be able to follow the program and be able to give their comments as well. So we will be getting a WhatsApp line so that people can be able to call from abroad, and you can send your comments, and when we see your comments, we'll be highlighting it. And we will also try to stream on Facebook. So a lot of effort is what we want to do, and we want to change the way we work. We want to make sure that we open more windows, more doors, so that people can be able to listen to us, watch us, our program. We will be also airing our program live. I am your host, Yusef Taylor, aka FlexDan. Thank you so much for listening to this program. Make sure you go nowhere. West Coast Radio is your station. Until next week, I remain Yusef Taylor, aka FlexDan. Straight talk. Cut it. Just cut it. Do you want to end?